Good evening, and we're back again for episode 8. I moved my haircut to tomorrow because it's been snowed in today. Hopefully, that'll be the last move. Tomorrow, you shall maybe hopefully see the haircut. Today, I actually have two topics after not working yesterday, and we'll go live on Instagram. Yeah, so yesterday was quiet. I didn't really have anything to say or share, so I just kept it quiet. Had a little fun with it. But today I thought, let me just put a little bit more thought into it. Maybe keep some notes, keep it a little bit more coherent and organized. I feel, um, and practice that. So you might see me just quickly scan over here. I got my phone to look and see what notes I might have put up, and then with a little bit of ADHD, it might add some other stuff along the way. So tariffs are a hot topic. They got delayed again in Canada, and have been talking about taxes today, particularly taxes for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So felt like the right topic to start with. And tomorrow I'll address something else which is more closer to my heart with like founders, grit, like between grit and fun, and what grit is that actually helps founders succeed and survive. But back to taxes. So I actually like seeing more fiscal policy being used, like with Trump and all these other countries trying to put tariffs up in retaliation versus monetary policy. I think we've overused monetary policy since, I don't know, 2008 financial crisis. Like we've just been printing, printing, printing to deal with every problem that we come up with because for some reason we can't just deal with the problem. um, and might be like a different perspective, but that's what I wanted to provide. And it's not necessarily entirely true, but try it on. Um, what's good about tariffs, in my perspective, is that it encourages countries to build locally. And lots of countries do have tariffs and have built those capacities. Like, I mean, honestly, China can build anything. They have resources and technology and capability, the advantage to build anything locally. And they've really done that for many years in the past in ancient China, um, being able to be isolated from the world, right? And yes, some things they just don't have a competitive advantage in. Like some things the US is just better at, and it makes it cheaper to get it from the US. But what I want to consider the possibility and ability to build things locally, even if it's inefficient, in the context of things like COVID, epidemics, wars. You know how much traffic, like ship traffic, is still being routed like around Cape Town instead of going through the Red Sea because of the war in Gaza. Like that has also that continues and been contributing to the increased prices for everything around the world. And by encouraging things to be made, like when and by the way, when America puts up tariffs, that doesn't automatically make things more expensive in Canada. It it makes it expensive a bit more indirectly, but because it's harder to export and get more revenue for Canada into the US, or sorry, from the US. It actually only gets expensive when Canada puts up tariffs because it makes it harder to get goods into Canada that we might want or need. And the same thing applies to the US. The tariffs actually hurt the US customer more than anyone else. Um, yes, and it makes selling to the US harder, but the who pays the final price? It's the US customer. And Trump is trying to offset that by actually reducing taxes on for everybody, income taxes. You know how he claims like get everybody else to pay, but not the American. Um, it's a bit of a trick. It's a narrative. At the end of the day, the American is going to pay. But if you have less income taxes, then I guess it doesn't really matter. um, and I do believe it would make America more resilient in the longer term, not impacted by supply chain issues, by world issues. because it is a resource-rich country capable of producing a lot of things, and they would not be, yeah, they would just be a lot more independent. And in some ways, that's how Trump sees as putting America first. Just taking a quick glance around the rest of the world, like Europe, I think Europe would be the most negatively impacted. Now they have a strong union, so they are also, I think, possibly going to be self-sufficient in some ways, but they're also not a resource-rich region of the world. They're rich in capital and other things, but actual raw materials they have much less of. Canada, honestly, we can build most of our things too. So that's just the hot take. And actually, we'll go one step deeper. Like with regards to like foreign aid and being reliant on regular income flows. I think that's a very modern thing. Like, sorry, just salary, just having a regular income is a very modern experience. In the past, most people would just be merchants or artisans or farmers, and you wouldn't have a regular salary unless you were like, well, employed by some lord or whatever. You would be dependent on the seasons, on the trades, and be making money on, and it would have a more volatile um, life or experience, or you would have to have savings to kind of manage that. Now, regular monthly payments and stuff, or regular salaries, does make your life a lot more smoother and predictable, but it also limits your opportunities and freedoms and things to explore. Funny enough, with AI coming out, I think a lot of like software developers are seeing this, where they're not getting the jobs that were so readily available before. Um, and the ones that are going to succeed the most, at least in the short term, are the ones that are capable of, I think, taking on a lot of work themselves, doing their own consulting, utilize AI really uh, for themselves, and bring advantages to and efficiencies to different areas around the world. I mean, just to put the silver lining on it, like tariffs both ways, overall not a good thing, but the volatility and that they create and the inefficiencies that they create within economies also presents an opportunity for developers and just people who want to be self-employed to exploit and use AI to meet those efficiency gaps. Um, Anyway, I think I've rambled on too long today, but I did have notes and I think it was a little more coherent. So we'll try that again tomorrow. And, just talk about putting silver linings on everything, seeing the opportunity, and uh, making things fun. And that's I think, a core strength of of a good founder that I'd love to be able to share.